Hi friends. So in this video we will be discussing about round robin CPU scheduling. So whenever we are dealing with round robin CPU scheduling, we have to get the knowledge of time quantum. So what is the time quantum? A time quantum is a time unit. Usually it will be between 100 to 10 to 100 milliseconds, which will be assigned to each process. So every process will be getting uh, this time quantum of time to get executed in the CPU. So once this time quantum has been finished, that is this time quantum has been elapsed, so the process is preempted, that is the process is taken out from the processor and added to the end of the ready queue. That is, we will be working out of all the process in the ready queue in the first in first out fashion. Every process will be given the time quantum, allocated time quantum, and in this time quantum the process will be executed and the process will be preempted out of the CPU, and the next process in the ready queue will be assigned with the same time quantum, and this process goes on until all the process have been finished in the ready queue, right? So this to make the time quantum work, we will be using a timer, and this timer will be checking the time quantum. Once the time has been finished given, that is time quantum has been finished for the given process, an interrupt is generated so that the next process can be scheduled. So if there are n processes and every process has a quantum time of q assigned, then each process will be getting at most q units of time at once. So this is what round robin scheduling working. So when you are coming to the performance of round robin scheduling, if the time quantum q is large, that is, if we take the time quantum large enough, then the round robin scheduling will be coming to the concept of first in first out scheduling. That is, it will be degraded to the first in first out scheduling. But if you take time quantum small, that is smaller than the context switch time, then the performance of round robin scheduling is not too good, that is, it is not efficient. We have to see that the minimum time quantum is minimum with the respect of context switch. If it is less than the context switch, then the performance is not good of round robin scheduling. Why? Because context switch overhead is too high. So let us see the example of round robin scheduling. So here we have given three process P1, P2, P3, and along with their corresponding burst time, that is P1 with 24 units of time, P2 with 3 units of time, and P3 with 3 units of burst time requirements. So now we will be considering the time quantum q equals to 4 in this example, that is time quantum is given 4 units of time. So as you can see, we are ready in the ready queue. We have three process P1, P2, and P3. So P1 is the first process in the ready queue. So P1 will be allocated, and the time quantum given is 4 units of time. So P1 will be working to the 4 units of time. So once 4 units of time has been elapsed, P1 will be preempted from the processor, and the next process P2 will be assigned to the processor. And you can see that P2 has only the requirement of 3 units of time. So the time quantum is 4, so P2 will be finishing only in 3 units of time. So 4 plus 3, it is 7. So in the next process in the ready queue is P3, and it also requires 3 units of time. So P3 will be assigned to the processor, and it finishes in the 3 units of time. So total becomes 10. So now P2 and P3 have been finished. Only process left in the ready queue is P1. But when you see P1 has a requirement of 24, but it has worked with 4 units of time, so remaining time is only 20. That is, now P1 requires 20 burst time to finish its work. So you can see here P1 is allocated, and it finishes in 4 units of the time quantum 4 units of time. It has been elapsed. Again there are no process, so again P1 is allocated, again 4 units of time will be elapsed, and again no process in the ready queue, so again P1 is assigned. Similarly P1, again P1, so every time 4 units of time, and 1 2 3 4 5 5 4s are 20, that is 20 units of time has been elapsed for the P1 process, but every time it is only 4 units of time because the time quantum is 4 units, right? So we have finished it. All the process have been finished in ready queue. This is how a Gantt chart will be prepared. So now when we are coming to the average waiting time, we have to calculate. If we want to calculate the average waiting times, now you have to find out the waiting times of each process. So when you come to the waiting time of P1, when you come to the waiting time of P1 is 6. How 6? So you can see that P1, so here it is P1. So P1 has waited for 10 units of time. So in this 10 units of time, it has used 4 units of time already. So 10 minus this 4, it will be 6. That is waiting time of P1 is 6 in the ready queue. Next, the waiting time of P2 is 4, which is direct, and waiting time of P3 is 7, which is also directly. So we will be getting 17 by number of processes 3. So that is the average waiting time is 5.6 units of time. So I hope you have understood this. Thank you.